Hi there. The beast is back. I predicted, as did many others, because it was pretty obvious. Tony Blair is back pulling the strings of Labour, wanting to control everything. The NHS, reintroduction of identity cards, using AI to supervise every aspect of our lives, keep the borders open to illegals so that Labour can stay in power for generations. Blair never really went away. He is incapable of self-criticism and incapable of going away. He's like a disease that won't give up. It keeps infecting until it kills the host. He is the worst kind of pimp who will use and abuse anyone and everyone in order to line his own pockets. Like all narcissists, when he looks at anything, he can only see himself and what might be profitable for him. He is a moral vacuum, which is why no amount of criticism or hatred can ever touch him, because there is nothing inside him to be touched. He's simply a mask with a ticking cash counter instead of a heart, a crude calculator of self-interest instead of a brain. He is shallowness in an Armani suit. I met him once, and he was caked in makeup, a sort of orange goo, but beneath that mask was just a black hole. When he looks at someone else, he's really looking to see himself reflected in their eyes, because the world is only and always about Tony Blair. Since 1997, when he came to power, there have been more immigrants, legal and illegal, coming to the UK than in the previous 2,000 years. Remember that when people say we've always been a nation of migrants. He trashed the Constitution so that we are stripped of more civil rights than under any other British Prime Minister. He changed the Supreme Court powers, harnessed us more to the European law courts. He brought in more cheap labour to artificially boost the economy despite the loss of British jobs. His open border policy and support for the murder of Gaddafi has led to the illegal migrant crisis we now have. His token embrace of multiculturalism has led to a ghettoising of the British landscape. In the old northern mining towns, the Midlands and London, and spreading. It has caused violent crimes to go through the roof. It has shredded the nation. He embraced a hypocritical political correctness because it allowed him to get away with murder, literally, and pretend it was progressive. New Labour economic growth was always short-term and based on debt and a light touch regarding interest rates and regulations. Enter the 2008 financial crisis. He and his troll sidekick, Gordon Brown, created a bubble and tried to persuade us it was a new Eden. It was a black hole waiting to happen, based on unsustainable credit growth. He changed the possibilities for home ownership. Less council houses sold or built than under Margaret Thatcher. Go for the buy-to-let market, which is at the root of the present housing crisis, compounded by a population growing at an unsustainable rate, mostly through illegal migrants. He was always moralising about the sanctity of the family. What he failed to mention was that that might include other families, such as Rudolph Murdoch's wife. Alone in her bedroom with her, I'm sure he donned a white collar and preached the importance of sexual fidelity in a marriage. But then, he is a globalist, so perhaps he'll convert to Islam and take another 3 wives. Why not, Atone? Anything goes. Everything is relative, especially morality. He created student debt so that millions of young people will be in debt for decades, or perhaps the rest of their lives, and unable to afford housing. Whereas he and his family own dozens of properties worth tens of millions, and he and Sherry went to university for free. He embarked on a policy of massive deindustrialization so that we couldn't compete globally at a time when America and France were increasing production. If you take a train from Birmingham north, you'll see the graveyards of factories, machinery, manufacturing plants, with the odd warehouse in the distance, full of cheap Chinese goods. He wanted to be president of Europe. He wanted power unfettered. He is a Stalinist shop window dummy in £300 shoes. His foreign policy was a disaster. He had his nose so far up George Bush Jr.'s jacksie he couldn't see daylight. Afghanistan was a disaster, hundreds of Brits dead, £37 billion wasted, and now the Taliban back in power. Iraq was worse. He lied to Parliament, to the British people and the whole world about weapons of mass destruction. 1 million dead, and opened the door for ISIS and a wave of global terror such as we never could have imagined. And he's back. Like an open sore, Blair is the role model we don't want for ourselves or our children or grandchildren. The liar, the chancer, the manipulator, the deceiver. The way we combat him is simply to refuse to believe anything he and his cronies say. To stand up and say, I refuse to live as you want me to live. I refuse to accept the rules you wish to impose. No matter what you do to me, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much you take from me, I will never support you. I know you for the fraud you are. I will remain myself and see you in hell. It's time someone took the lid off this hideous man's skull and blew in the message, get lost and crawl back under that stone where you belong. On another note, if you want an entertaining evening about Shakespeare and the Gunpowder Plot, yeah, Shakespeare knowing about the Gunpowder Plot, do come to my play, Shakespeare's Gunpowder Plot, at the lovely Space Theatre, August 27th to September the 7th. We have a great team and a great cast of professional actors. I'll be there most evenings and it'll be a pleasure to meet some of you. There's a nice bar. There's a link below where you can find out more and get tickets. I promise, no West End prices, but a lot of fun and a lot of drama. If you were bored watching England at the Euros, come and see the play for a night of real entertainment. And do please share and subscribe this video. Thank you.